Hey, NOSA community, welcome back. It's Shamika, and you see the topic. So, we're going to go ahead and jump in. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe to our channel because we have a lot of great content and more to come. As well, click that alert bell and get more information on the latest updates on videos coming your way. And as I mentioned, we're going to jump into this topic, unfortunately, because it's been quite a hot topic lately. And I felt like it only made sense that I address it collectively versus individually, which is how I've addressed it in previous situations. But it's a part of our world. Scamming is a part of the world. We as a group have been hit by scammers probably this past year the most. And it's an unfortunate thing. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the video. And I want to give you guys some tools and resources and a little bit of information about how we work here at the NOSA group so that there is no question about what it is and what it is not. So let's get started. So, how to avoid being scammed when starting your healthcare staffing business. So, many people want to take the journey of starting a staffing business. It's a rewarding venture. It's like no other business, but there are always risks when you're getting started, especially if you're not familiar with the industry. And the purpose of this video is to give you some tips, some information and guidance about one, how we work at the NOSA group, and one, of course, also how to avoid being scammed when you're starting your staffing business. So, some things to think about when you're getting started, and that's connected to any business that's starting, is you want to research. I talk about it. I've talked about it since we started the group back in 2017. It's an important part and piece that you'll do as a business owner over and over and over again. And it'll really help expand your knowledge base. So before you start your business, you want to do your thorough research about the staffing industry. There's a lot of resources like the American Staffing Association, the Staffing Industry Analyst, your local associations and things of that nature that are staffing specific that can give you a lot of insight about the industry. And then you also want to understand how the industry works. So you may go to websites like ours or others, or even Google it and really have an understanding of the key players. And as we go into the rest of September, we'll talk more about like who these people are and what they could be doing. You definitely want to create a solid business plan. And this is probably the area where people have the biggest struggle and seek out assistance. So it could be seeking out a template on Etsy. It could be, getting with a coach or a mentor, a counselor to do those things. I really encourage people to really think about where they can access free resources around creating a solid business plan. And some places that I've talked about is SCORE, SCORE.org, your Small Business Development Center. If you are a veteran, they have veteran business centers, your Chamber of Commerce. All of them have resources, outlets, Zoom sessions, in person sessions that'll help you do this 9 times out of 10 freely or nominally. Um, the next area would be around the legal and regulatory compliance. When you're thinking about getting started, you will need to have this no matter who you talk to. So you'll always need to have your license. You'll need to have any specific nursing permits that your particular state may be requiring. You'll need to have business insurance and compliance with any health regulations. So you may have to register as a nurse registry, or you may have to register as a healthcare staffing business. Next, you want to check credentials. And this is the area that I'll probably spend the most amount of time talking. And when you want to check credentials, you want to check credentials of any person that you're working with. So I encourage people to really use Google. Like that's a free, easy starting point. Google the person, Google the businesses that they work with, Google their names, and really see what types of information come up. If the person is a legitimate business owner, they should have some content on Google. So once you look on the website, you can Google the website. So there's a lot of areas that you can Google. And that sometimes will tell you more information than you realize. And taking those steps will alleviate a lot of headache early on. So You can Google me. You can Google my business. You can Google different things about people. Sometimes people have Google reviews. Also, sometimes people have Facebook reviews. But for the most part, if the individual doesn't have a presence on Google, I will be wary. And then if you want to go a few steps further, you can always Google their business, and see if they're a licensed business in the particular state that they say that they're working on. And I know sometimes people are so eager to get started that they feel like, oh well, Shamika, these are just too many steps, but it's worth it because you want to make sure that you're getting what you want from that interaction with the individual and that you're not actually being sold on something that they may not be able to deliver. These two, networking. And what I'll explain about this is kind of how I network when I do business to business types of transactions, and kind of the difference between an individual who might be scamming you versus a person who probably is not scamming you. So, for instance, within the group here on our channel, I've given referrals and references for all types of services and business. Typically, it is business to business types of services. And they're either individuals that I've worked with myself that you can Google, or they may be organizations that I'm affiliated with or know of that are legitimate organizations. So, seeking referrals and references. So, if you say, hey, Shamika, I'm looking for a background company, and I send you someone that I work with, then I would encourage you to ask me, hey, how was your experience? How did they handle this process? What was the process as far as, getting information, getting access, getting training, things of those nature? I would ask those questions of myself. And guys, don't be afraid to ask questions. Just because I send a referral doesn't mean, one, that you have to take the referral. Of course, you want to get referrals from trusted sources, people that you work with or have connections with, but also ask questions of those people too. So I encourage people, our group is based on asking questions. So I would never discourage someone from asking me a question about a referral that I've sent. I would encourage it, if anything. And if I send a referral and I think it'll be a good fit, I probably will include kind of the areas of as far as what they do, why I chose them, and things of that nature. So you always want to, one, get a referral from a reliable source, a trusted source, and then seek out other references, business references that can also provide some sort of information about that particular business as well. The next one is do your due diligence. Please, guys, do it. Don't get caught up. Have somebody else read an agreement. If they're offering services to you, whomever it may be, and they don't have you sign some sort of agreement, that's a red flag. If they want you to pay all the monies up front, that's a red flag. If there's no refund policy in place, even if it's a refund, hey, you can request a refund in writing. You can request a refund after 3 days, 7 days. After that, it's non-refundable. That's a flag. And some of the reasons that those are flags is because you should be able to refund services that don't meet what the agreement is. It's a lose-lose situation. If you sign a business agreement, the other person signs, you provide all of your monies, and there's no piece of their agreement that discusses a refund, because life happens, and that's why most people put it in their agreements. What if the person gets sick? What if the person gets hospitalized? You're supposed to be able to keep your money and play. No, you, in good faith, in good business, in my opinion, you refund that person the money back, or you give them an opportunity to work with you at a later date. Those are good business practices. And as I mentioned here at the bottom, look for any signs of past scams. So when you Google people, sometimes their past scams come up. If you look at their reviews, which most people have fairly good reviews, but if you look at reviews and it's kind of a hodgepodge of really, really good and not so good, that sometimes can be a sign. And you can always reach out to those people, especially if those things are listed via social media. Again, avoid. And I am trying not to be too animated about it. Avoid a substantial amount of upfront fees. In our business here at the NOSA Group, we do offer free consultations. Some businesses don't, and that's always a business decision. But In offering a free consultation, part of our goal is to make sure that, hey, working with me is a match. You have specific goals in mind and intentions for where you want your business to go, the amount of support you may need or resources you may need. If that's not something our organization can offer, that's kind of where we peel back the pieces of it in a consultation call. And whether or not the consultation is free or not is, like I said, a business decision. But having one to make sure, hey, you're a good fit, I'm a good fit, we can work together is really important. And it also allows you to make sure that, hey, I'm a legitimate business owner. I have a history of it. I do what I say I'm going to do. And then vice versa. Hey, set expectations with your client, understand these are the things that we do and we don't do. And then, offer opportunities to ask questions. And then the next sentence is legitimate clients and partners or businesses typically don't ask for significant payments before any work is done. And that kind of ties into the last slide in this one as well. There's nothing wrong with putting a down payment down or doing a payment plan. But if in the beginning you have to put all of the money down, I would stay wary of those types of businesses. It reeks of red flags. It typically puts you in a position where you're subject to or at the will of the other individual's time schedule and things like that. And that's another thing. And we'll talk about that here around securing contracts and agreements. So, in addition to getting contracts and agreements, you want to get timelines, especially when you're talking about services. So, in either the consultation or maybe the first initial meeting, you want to set up what you're supposed to get and in what time frame. You don't want to create for yourself open-ended time frames. An example would be this. If I was a business owner and I'm working with you on getting contracts, which is usually the area I would tell people to stay clear of, but let's say we're working on getting contracts, I would create for you a timeline of what the steps and the things we would do to get you to that place. I would create for you either week by week, month by month. And all of this is part of having that initial conversation with your particular business that you identified. Hey, we're trying to do this and that. Let's make sure that we have these different things in play. Next, be skeptical of unusual requests. If you receive requests such as providing sensitive financial information, sharing personal details that's not business related, any transferring of money to accounts that may not be familiar, or accounts where you can't trace where the money is going, that's a problem. And then get legal advice, get financial advice, talk to industry professionals about what's happening, have someone else read over the contract, um, find out if this person has done this type of business before, of as far as scamming other people. Have a second set of eyes before you sign over and give any monies. And then finally, stay up to date on the latest industry trends. Scammers often take advantage of groups of people. We've had it in our group, unfortunately, but the main thing is we're doing our part as much as we can to eliminate those individuals from our groups and our platforms. But when people say DM me or message me or reach out to me, a lot of times those are indications of potential scammers getting your information and using the group as a platform to do it. As always, remember, prevention is key. Being diligent, doing your research, and seeking advice from trusted sources, you can reduce the risk of falling victim to scams while starting your healthcare staffing business. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope it gives you a little bit of insight. Some of the things that I wanted to share with you as we get to the end of this video is around that our core team at the NOSA group is small. I know that a lot of individuals who have been scammed are being scammed under the guise that they're working with other NOSAs and or that they work with the NOSA group. So the only individuals that work with the NOSA group are administrators in the group and moderators in the group. So if those aren't the individuals reaching out to you, then they're not working with me. We have a small team done intentionally. We want to make sure that we're providing what we can at the level that we can do it, to the people that that we've chosen to work with. The group is a great resource for people. So try and get as much information freely, whether it be through the group or other legitimate platforms. But please, please, please take these steps into consideration when you're working with any other business to business. If you're not sure, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to any of our group moderators and get a little bit of insight as we try to stay up to date. But it's been a unfortunate prevalent problem that we've had here at the NOSA group, especially on our Facebook group page. And we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information and insight to avoid it and hope that it helps. Thanks as always for watching our channel. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe here and then click the alert bell so you can get updates too over here. Thanks as always. Have a great one.